Hi, freaks, and welcome to another live movie review. My name is Matt, and joining me tonight is my two good friends, Sue and Nathan. Yes, so Alien is what we'll be reviewing tonight. The film was obviously a classic, released in 1979, directed by Ridley Scott, screenplay by Dan O'Bannon, with a runtime of 117 minutes. It had a budget of 11 million and managed to take home an impressive $143 million at the box office. What's that we need to know?
I think that's a good length. Good stats.
Good stats. Cool. So this is classic. So the last couple of films, or the last four films that we've reviewed, are all fairly new. So we're going back into the archives with this one. When was the last time you'd watched Alien?
If I say that, it's going to make me seem really old. I'm pretty sure it was in the 90s. So it's been a long time for me. So I was almost
that was before I was born.
Stop
laughing.
Lies. It's actually probably with you guys on VHS back in the 90s.
Holy
really?
cow.
Wow.
I wrote an article early 2000s, I think, about best animals in horrors. And so I rewatched Alien because, I mean, that cat. So yeah, I rewatched it to sort of, remember how awesome he was. I think he was number 2.
It's a beautiful cat.
Beautiful cat.
But yeah, I think I've got the Blu-ray, and I do have the VHS box set. I have watched it quite a few times. Do you remember the first time that you saw the film?
I don't remember the first time specifically, but I remember what I thought about it at the time. And my thoughts are a little bit different now.
Okay.
So, little taste of things to come.
When I was in high school, they had picture books from some movies, and one of them was Alien, and it was I was like 13 or something, and I was obsessed with opening this book to that scene, and like, oh my god, I have to see this film because this looks horrific and disgusting, and yay. And I looked at it so many times that when I got it out, because there was like a little secret place where they hid this book, and you'd get it out, and when I opened it, it just fell open to that page after a while because I've looked at it.
Like an old centerfold.
I knew exactly what was going to happen the first time I watched it, so I kind of wish I hadn't ruined that shock for myself.
Right. But I don't remember specifically how old I was. I remember it was under the age of 7 because it was in the country town that I was born in. So my parents like to expose me to inappropriate films. So I remember like horror films I'm talking about.
We always say expose and inappropriate. So not like that.
So yeah, let's just clarify and say no porn was seen. But yeah, so I remember living in country town. I was there till I was 7, so I was under 7. I had the Alien doll, so I had like this plastic doll that was like that big, like it was a huge toy, and I remember it, like being so scared, like I had so many nightmares about the bloody alien. But my parents like thought, oh, it's like Doctor Who, like it's just a sci-fi film, like he'll love it.
I got a lot of people that way. I don't know if it was promoted as a horror or if it was promoted as a sci-fi or not, to be honest. But it seems like quite a few people who were into sci-fi who would never watch a horror did see it.
Doll that was like big, like it was.
And I remember we are having so many technical issues tonight. Is that coming from you, Nathan? No, because Sue and I reacted to it and you didn't react at all. Typical Nathan, looking all guilty. But yeah, so yeah, I think that they just thought that this is a sci-fi, and Fox picked this up because they weren't originally going to produce the film, but they had this script, and then Star Wars did great numbers, so they were just looking for a sci-fi that was sitting around that they could quickly put into production. So apparently that's why it did get made, was on the back of the success of Star Wars.
Yeah, it does have a bit of a similar sort of feel in the beginning, especially some of the opening shots and the models. Yeah, no, I actually really enjoyed the model shots. I don't know if that's just again dating me, because that's just how I associate a lot of old science fiction movies, practical effects and yeah, models. But you don't see that anymore now. It's all CGI and everything's all shiny and glides all nice and smooth. But I actually kind of really like the old model shots.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a fan of practical effects. Like, if you look at American Wolf in London and compare it to like Van Helsing or something, like I know which one is more effective for me. Like,
yeah, it's more relatable. I think
it's got more weight, and it just feels more real in a way, which sounds kind of weird, but it does to me.
Yeah, well, especially for something like this, which is like a lot of slow space shots, and I think one of the first shots of the movie, you see the spaceship and the Nostromo coming over the top, entering into cameras, are very Star Wars-esque. But I think models work especially well for space things, because I don't know, it just feels more realistic, because it's no one's been up. Well, I haven't been up. Very few people have been up there.
Speak for yourself. My friend Jeff Bezos took me up
for a jaunt around, and then we went back home.
I found, like, we'll get into it as we go on, but I did find some of the shots were amazing still, and even though you could tell like it was just an alien under a rain shower with some lights, still I thought that was like they were impressive. There was some though that it was like you could see it was fairy lights attached to
I know which one you're talking about. Yeah,
I'm like this could do well with a special edition.
George Lucas
I don't mind a George Lucas, because I do find that some people wouldn't watch it because it does have that practical effects. It doesn't have the, like, especially when you're looking at the trilogy, like the prequel films, and how they are quite closely tied.
Yeah.
But yeah. So should we get into it?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, so the commercial space tug Nostromo is returning to Earth with a 7-member crew in stasis. So we've got Captain Dallas, Executive Officer Kane, Warrant Officer Ripley, Navigator Lambert, Science Officer Ash, and the 2 engineers, Parker and Brett. So, should we talk about the crew?
Sure. I thought it was actually interesting because it's like most of them are like really familiar actors, but way younger than we know them. So it was a good cast, I think.
Well, most of them are, except for 3, most of them have passed away, unfortunately. I think Tom Skerritt and Sigourney Weaver and is it Jessica Cartwright or Angela Cartwright? I always get the sisters mixed up.
No, Veronica.
Veronica Cartwright, yes, that's it.
Yeah.
I think we've done that before where we got them wrong.
But she's
I
think.
Sorry, what was that?
With us, isn't she, Veronica?
Yeah. So they're still with us.
Everyone else.
Yeah,
What about Ian Holm? He didn't pass away,
away. Yeah, so he passed away. I think it was last year or the year before. He's only passed away recently. John Hurt passed away maybe 4 years ago, I think it was. Yaphet Kotto passed away like recently as well.
I think so. What a funny name.
I love that name. I loved him, like, because he, like, all of them were sort of fairly established. Like, Yaphet Kotto had been in Live and Let Die. He was the sort of main baddie in that James
Was that
Bond.
before this?
Yeah, so Live and Let Die was mid to early 70s.
I thought it was you know when they all wake up in their pods and they're like, was anyone else trying to look up their shorts or was it just me?
Just you.
You had a pretty clear view, and a lot of them had like these gaping leg holes, and I was like, "Oh, that's."
Oh my god! So you've been in lockdown for too long.
Well, I was like, I would never. I don't think they would do a shot like that now because it would like you pretty much could see up inside and see their pants and stuff. And then they go and have breakfast, and everyone's smoking, and I'm like, "Oh, that's so funny."
Yeah, I noticed that. That dated it a fair bit.
Right, but then I was curious about thinking about films then that people were smoking, but not all of them. Was it a character decision, or did the director just say, "Oh, you smoke anyway, so like no big deal. You would smoke if you were an actor who smoked"? It didn't seem like a character thing.
I think Ridley Scott wanted to make it look like they were on, either a big, one of those, what are they called, liners that take the
like a freighter, like
freighter, yes, like that sort of thing where they are more relaxed, drinking and smoking.
I
and that
definitely got that vibe. But yeah, the smoking thing, I think maybe my interpretation of that's time, because late 70s, a lot more people smoke than they do now. So that was just their version. How are they meant to know that the future, it being the future where hardly anyone smokes or people smoke vape? They would just think,
like now if you see people smoking, it's because they've decided that would be the right choice for that character.
Yeah.
I just feel like then it wouldn't have even been a discussion. Just if you were smoked while you're on set,
Yeah, I don't think they would have forced people to. I think probably most of them would. Like, looking at them, they all look like smokers. But that got me thinking. Sorry, go ahead, Sue.
I was wondering, like, we never saw Jonesy in one of those chambers, but obviously he must have been. Otherwise, he'd be a little grey fossil.
I had that on my notes as well. It's like, where does the cat sleep? Does he have like a little mini one? Or
no, but he went right down, like into the bottom when he went into Ripley.
Yeah, we see that at the end, but I was thinking about that in the beginning.
Yeah, because I'm assuming he would be with someone, I guess. But who would he be with?
I thought he was with.
Mess up the cryo sleep, the science of it, having like something else in there with you.
Yeah. I don't know. I would have liked to have seen more of that because that's entertaining.
I thought it was interesting, like, having the cat on board. Like, it did bring a lot of problems. It was quite problematic in having a cat. Like, even without the alien, like, there was a lot of places for it to hide. So, is that really the best thing? But
sorry, go on.
Go ahead.
Freighters have like cats or ship pets, like dogs and that sort of thing.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Pirates, they got parrots, so monkeys.
Fuck, I'm sure it is to have a cat on the ship because they used to take care of the rats. So I think it's supposed to be cool. But I looked up. I like the divide between the astronauts, the proper astronauts, and like the construction crew. I liked all that and how they were sort of, why we have to risk our lives and we don't get paid, and that kind of thing.
Yeah, they only were getting half of the commission or whatever, the bonus.
Yeah, I did like that. I didn't notice that the first time that I watched it, and I was like, it felt more real. Like that's how they interact, and there would be a separation.
It did feel very real. The characters. I mean, the actors, they did it really well, but just the way they related and just it all felt really natural and casual.
Yeah. There wasn't a lot of development, I guess.
I think because of the film, they fit in quite a lot when you look at it. Like, I think they had these great actors who could bring a lot without actually going into a lot of the backstory. Like, it was just like they sort of set it up with a look. Like, Yaphet Kotto, like, his attitude was just amazing. Like, he was so real. Like I know people like that. Like
Yeah,
you could
agreed.
imagine him being like so cantankerous and hard to deal with, and you could tell like Dallas was like so patient with him, but you could see his patience was wearing thin every time that they had like a confrontation.
Yeah.
So it was the little things like that that really sort of dictated their character rather than going in explicitly to the
Like
details.
Character rather than the other way around.
Yeah. And I mean, as well, with Ash, like watching it back and knowing, oh, we always forget, but spoiler alerts, we're going to be talking about major plot points, but it is 1979, so if you haven't seen it, then, you know, fuck
really
off.
Catch up.
But yeah, he really is subtle, but not so subtle in the way that he manipulates the situation from the sidelines. And I thought, yeah, that the way that the actors did that and were so subtle and natural was one of the strengths of the films.
Yeah.
Cool. So, detecting a transmission from a nearby moon, the ship's computer, mother, damn you, mother, awakens the crew. The company policy requires any potential distress signal to be investigated. Well, that's what they're told anyway. They land on the moon, and Dallas, Kane, and Lambert head out to investigate the source of the signal. Like, I think, just going back to something you had said, Sue, with the smoking, while I was watching it, like, I think this film, while it does in a lot of ways, it seems current, but in other ways, it seems like so behind the times. And it's funny, like, how people from 40 years ago thought that we would be living in the future, and it just made me think, like, oh my god, like what we think is like science fiction now, like, are people going to laugh at that, like with the giant monitors and only one person can access mother by typing on a keyboard, like,
yeah,
and like the monochrome screen.
Numbers, and he's going, there's some carbon and some nitrogen and stuff, and it's just the running numbers.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
And like yeah, Ripley looking at the screen, it's like just ones and zeros. It's like, okay, like and it just makes me think, like, it blows my mind, like what we think like is the future, and we look at films of today, like, you know, Guardians of the Galaxy or whatever, and it's like, wow, I wonder if we'll look back in 40 years and go, oh my god, like that's ridiculous. Yeah.
Well, I remember when I was a kid, I had this really vivid thought where in the future we'll all have these little touch screen things attached to our arms, and we'll be able to access stuff and do a whole bunch of different things and communicate everything from like a little touch screen. And it's like, we've all got them now in our pocket.
If only you marketed that.
I know.
But we couldn't imagine, like, you know, with the internet and apps and how we can communicate with people so instantly these days. And not only that, but it's also a cultural thing as well.
Yeah.
Like, so just, yeah, kind of made me think, like, I really want to know what's going to happen in 40 years' time.
We're still here.
If we're still here.
Hopefully know what happens in the
movie. So they... So go ahead, Sue.
Sorry, just because we've seen the further ones like Prometheus and those, watching it now and seeing, oh, that's the architects, and yeah, all of that stuff is interesting.
Yeah. I remember watching it a long time ago, and there's a lot of mystery in the movie you don't really explain. It's like, what is that? Is that a giant spaceship that they find? And what is that other big thing in the middle? And there's a lot of it that just sort of went over my head. But now seeing the other movies, we understand a bit more of the backstory of it.
Yeah. I thought it was a really space toilet seat that was just like from giants.
And it was like dead on the toilet seat.
Yes.
The design of the ship and the aliens and that sort of thing. What's it? It's named the designer who did it. Was it Geiger? H.R. Geiger?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that was really quite groundbreaking, and they've tried to copy that, not just in alien movies, but multiple other things ever since. Just because it's not in the past how a lot of people imagined aliens and ships to be. It is very different to us, very organic looking. Well, the ships.
We have
anyway.
to add. You just reminded me, Nathan. We have to add to our watch list. Species. That was one of our
I love
favorites,
that one.
and that was a Geiger movie as well. Geiger Designs.
That was Alien, but make it sexy. But anyway.
That was so of its time as well. So, moving on, they discover the signal originated from a derelict alien ship. As the trio enter the ship, Ripley deciphers part of the transmission, determining it to be a warning rather than a distress call. I really like how Ripley is so strong. Like, even at the beginning of the film, she's very decisive, like, very proactive. Like, I think that's partly down to Sigourney Weaver, but also partly down to the writing. I love how Sigourney talks. Like, she's so measured in the way she delivers her lines. Yeah.
I like. She brings a lot of like gravitas with her. Like, she's got a lot of weight in films, I feel.
Oh, definitely.
So true. So while inside the ship, the crew discover the fossilized remains of the ship's pilot, who appears to have something that had exploded out of his chest. So the aliens often referred to as the space jockey. Like, did they actually call him the space jockey in the film?
No, it's not referred to in the movie, but I remember like reading from magazines and all that sort of stuff when I was a lot younger. That's what it was all called, the space jockey. But I think maybe that's like something they created, the writers and things, just as a bit of backstory, but they never actually fleshed it out in the movie.
I mean, the fossil structure, they were calling that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now we call it hunk. Like, once we see the prequels and he's wearing a mask. And
No. Well, there's a lot of layers into that, but we knew nothing about that, which I guess is one of the good things about this movie, in that we're watching from the character's perspective. They don't know all the backstory. They just intercepted this weird spaceship and they're trying to figure out what is this.
But like Geiger's designs, like in this, like are just amazing, and like really comes out like in the spaceship, like that the walls look like they're lined with bones or something. Like, it's so organic and so contradictory to what the human spaceship looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in the Nostromo, that actually looks a lot like sets from Star Wars.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of the earlier shots they showed in the movie anyway. A lot of like the white sort of padded walls and the sort of hexagonal doorways and that sort of thing. Very Star Wars.
I love the Nostromo set as well. Like, I've always wanted to win the lotto and build a bunker underneath my house and just have it like set up like the Nostromo, where I can just stroll around, like, and yeah, it just looks amazing.
You sleep in one of the pods and wear like little teeny tiny underpants.
Oh, you know I would. You know I
would. Life goals.
Did you watch the prequels? Do you remember them?
I remember Prometheus, but I don't really remember. The only bit I remember about the other one, I don't even remember the name of that one. Yeah, that
Requiem.
one was where Magneto.
Covenant. Yeah, but I did not like.
The only thing I remember about that one is where Magneto talks to his double and says, and they're playing a flute and says, "Let me do the fingering."
It's not Magneto.
That's the only thing about that movie I remember.
And he's been dreaming about it ever since.
Yeah, obviously. That's true. I don't really remember the sequel to the prequel that well.
I liked that one, and I did not like Prometheus at all.
I like Prometheus. I actually want to go back and watch it again now after watching this.
Yeah, I wanted to watch both of them again. But yeah. Anyway, moving on.
What are we talking about?
So, Kane discovers a chamber containing hundreds of large egg-like objects. When he touches one, a creature springs out, breaking through his helmet and attaching itself to his face.
Was anyone else sitting there going, "For Christ's sakes, get away from that thing"? He's like, "Oh, what's this?" and leaning over it, and I'm like, "For God's sakes."
He probably hasn't seen the movie. They don't. He's just. People think eggs. It's like what comes out of eggs. It's like babies. like little harmless babies.
He can see the thing like shaking around inside it.
Yeah, but he doesn't necessarily know that it's going to leap out and get him. And you hardly even see that, actually, because you see the thing open and then you see something jump up, but then you don't actually see it attached to him or anything. It's a cutaway to something else, which is actually quite clever, because then the audience is filling in their head what's happening.
Yeah, agreed. But
you'd see inside the egg, like, oh,
yeah, you saw that.
You idiot! What are you doing? That's all I kept.
I probably wouldn't put my head over it.
Right? I mean, I can observe what's going to come out from here. That's fine.
Yeah.
And I think, Nathan, as well, like how you said, you know, we've got the iPhones now. Like, there was no, like, he didn't have any equipment to actually give any diagnostics on the alien, like on the eggs. It's like
scans or anything, no tricorders.
That's what I was thinking. Surely there's like tricorders, like some sort of device that they can.
Star Trek.
That's a Star Trek.
I'm just.
Yeah, like I just thought that he was a bit gung ho in exploring this.
Get some stuff, some more people, come on back, check it out, do some proper scientific distancing from this thing.
Yeah.
But also, I can't remember in the movie, is this sort of, do we know if this is a first ever alien contact? That they're not aware of other aliens existing? So they would be.
The company's aware because they send the ship there.
But is that a secret? So for the regular folk, do they know aliens exist? And it's like, oh, this could.
I don't think they really cover that.
Yeah.
I don't know if the prequels maybe cover it more, but
that's it. They didn't seem that excited at discovering aliens if they were.
Like it's obviously eggs. Like you can see things moving, and it's they weren't jumping up and down about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Like more surprised. Life. Yeah, true.
So Dallas and Lambert carry the unconscious Kane back to the Nostromo. As acting senior officer, Ripley refuses to let them on board, citing quarantine regulations. But Ash...
That's timely. Quarantine and keeping people at home and keeping people out, borders and all that sort of stuff.
I think we felt differently about that than what we would have probably in the past.
Yeah. Whereas now it's like, respect the quarantine!
I know.
Don't let it in!
Well, to be honest, either way, I'd still be like, it's still attached to him. It's not like he was in contact with something and now he's, on the other side of it. It's still with him. Like, you don't let that shit back in the ship. That's just insane. She was so right.
But Ash overrides her decisions and lets her inside. With the crew back on board and the damage sustained on landing repaired, the crew continue their journey back to Earth. Yeah, so just behind the scenes, Sue and I get obsessed with the way people say things, and we don't actually quote movie lines as such. We quote the way they say things. So we're obsessed, pronunciation of the way Sigourney Weaver says, Ash. We did that for years.
And every time she said it in the movie, I'd like...
Ouch. It must have been a real pain to drag Kane all that way, up the thing, and then outside of the spaceship, and then all the way through the storm.
Yeah, and they had to
just leave him.
Find him. What the hell is this thing on his face? And all of that. I would have liked to have seen that, to be honest, but yeah, we did.
Get to the point.
Fast forward this bit.
Which is actually interesting because I mentioned when I watched it years ago, I just remember the movie as seeming really slow. And it does take a little while to get going to that sort of stuff. But if they did put all that extra stuff in, it might be interesting, but at the same time, it would just drag the movie out even longer.
Yeah.
But this time when I watched it, I didn't feel like it was slow. It felt like every bit was there for a reason and important, and it was mood setting and telling a story. Maybe I'm just got more patience now.
But I think that they do pay it off, because I was thinking the same. The alien doesn't really show up until over halfway through the movie, but like the egg like opening up, like there is a lot of suspense leading up to the alien. I didn't feel bored at all.
I'm still tense about it, like
Mm.
because it's been a while, so I didn't remember exactly how things played out.
I remembered everything, but I still get tense. Like it's still like such a suspenseful film. Like
It's very
that's
well
that's
done.
a true sign of like how well it's directed and written and acted.
You know how it's going to end up. You're still tense.
Yeah.
Like something's time.
So Ash attempts to remove the creature from Kane's face, but stops when he discovers that the blood is extremely corrosive acid. It later detaches itself from its own accord and is found dead. I just love how it disappeared off of his face, so they get these like long antenna sticks and start like poking around for it, knowing full well the damage that it can do.
I know. It's like, let me poke it with my electric chopstick. And then looking at all the little nooks and crannies and that sort of stuff, and then suddenly this rubbery thing just falls down from above.
I honestly didn't remember what happened in that scene, and I think I was getting mixed up with that movie live. So I was like, "Is it still alive somewhere?" Because I can't remember exactly what happened. So I was super tense. But I was thinking, when he had that thing on his face, why did you not put him in like a small chamber, so that when it's off, it's just there? Rather than
because they didn't know like that it would. But they knew that it was still alive. Like, surely it could have been the possibility that it just could get off of its own accord at any time.
Yeah.
So why not have him contained? I thought that was.
It was also reacting to when they were like trying to cut it or probing or whatever, and tried to get it off. It would actually like strangle him even tighter, which was scary itself because it makes you feel uncomfortable. But at the same time, it's aware that it's being threatened.
Then they're all looking at it under the microscope and all its folds.
It's really different to what we see.
Sir, you need to get out of lockdown. You're seeing way too much of these films.
Are you sexualizing the alien face, Saga?
No, but I knew how it would sound. I started down that road and then got to that word and went, oh.
Too late.
But yeah, that was gross.
So Kane awakens with some memory loss, but seems to otherwise be unharmed. During a final crew meal before returning to stasis, he suddenly chokes and convulses. A small alien creature bursts from Kane's chest, killing him and escaping into the ship. This is another one that Sue and I quote like all the time. Oh God!
Oh God!
I was waiting for that to happen in the movie.
Nathan's rolling his eye like, oh, here they go again.
I didn't hear Veronica say it. I heard you guys say it.
Oh God!
She says it off camera as well, so you don't even see her. It's just like something she probably recorded later on about something else, maybe like a crew member playing a joke on her or something. They just insert that in there.
I read that they didn't know like how this was going to happen, so all their reactions were on the spot reactions.
That's so cruel, isn't it?
Yes.
Good.
They did that to the kids on It as well. They didn't let them see Pennywise until it was actually he was on the set. Like, I kind of get why they do that, because you do get authentic responses, but can't be fun for the actors, I guess.
No.
Surely there would have been a lot of setup for that scene. Like John Hurt sort of all embedded into the table and everything.
I think it was the blood, wasn't it? That they didn't know it was going to happen.
Remember,
there was a lot of blood that got spurted around. Maybe that's it. And then also when the thing bursts and you see it run along, it clearly looked like it's on some sort of little track or something.
I have to confess that I always think of the Spaceball scene, like where the alien does, "Hello, my baby, hello, my honey, hello, my ragtime girl." Spaceballs kind of ruined that scene for me.
I love that. I sing that all the time, and no one gets the reference.
If you haven't seen Spaceballs, make sure you go and see it. Track it down; it's hilarious.
Fun.
Actually, I haven't seen it in years. Probably not hilarious anymore, but
probably not. It's probably problematic now.
yeah,
Probably.
definitely would be problematic. Oh, Spaceballs.
Yeah, that is shocking. It's still shocking, I feel.
Definitely.
Well done. You know, when the first burst of blood happens, I don't really understand where that's come from.
He sounds like, and that's something that because I was listening to it with my headphones on, and I don't think I'd ever realized the layering of sound effects and music in this film. Like, and you can really hear it in this scene, like where he's like, oh, like crying out in pain. You can almost feel like it breaking through his chest, like, and like the scrunching and the crunching, and then the tense sort of music on top of it. Like it's there's quite a few scenes in the film that it's just like really, really layered with so many different sound effects. Like it's not just a visual film, but also the audio of it as well. It's just intense.
Yeah.
Well, I do like it, except the first blood always kind of puts me off because I'm like, I don't understand because the blood would be internal, and once it's external, he's basically out. So I don't get the pause between. But anyway, that's just me knowing.
No, but it sort of did like a little mini burst, and then it burst all the way through.
There was a bit where there was like a splatter of blood on his chest for a long time while he was thrashing around, and I'm like, if it's that far, it will be all the way out.
Maybe it's just like an egg, like it's just like trying to get its, like it uses its little protuberance.
Yeah. That's what I think. I didn't have any problem with that. But again, it's practical effects and it looks very real and relatable. And I thought that was fantastic.
Especially after, when they see it curling on
relatable? Can you relate to having something?
Something burst out of my chest. No, but it's like it was all CGI. I don't know. I just don't connect as much with those things.
I liked that he was like sitting there doing the twisty hand, like that really, I thought that was good.
Yeah, so it's like he's not gone yet. He's still there in some degree.
Yeah. Not
that just made it seem all the more horrific.
Right? Yeah. And then he's dead.
Poor little guy.
And we have the projectile funeral.
Yeah, just
quickly. Just went,
I don't think that would happen. That was kind of like, not believable.
That made me laugh.
There's a lot of things where the gravity wouldn't, like they don't take into account. Like it wouldn't just fly off like that. It would like float out.
Unless it was like sort of shot out or something like that, like a torpedo.
That's what I thought, but like, why are you shooting him out like that when you can just sort of
let it go?
Yeah, like it just seems.
That seems like a waste to like shoot him out like that.
It's probably just visual.
But I did watch a YouTube video where someone had done like things that are like not scientifically correct with the Alien film. So like having flamethrowers in a spaceship where you have your own oxygen, which is like a different mix of oxygen normally than what it would be for Earth, is quite problematic. And also the explosive decompression thing isn't correct as well. So ruined.
But made for 19 TV cinema audiences, they didn't have access to YouTube videos and all that sort of stuff. It's just it's made for them. They wouldn't question it.
And I think that there's a few plot points as well, like where I'm like, really, you're doing this, like why are you doing that? But it's like, I think that they could have like all got into their spacesuits and opened up the space doors and let all the air out to get rid of the alien, because like Ash says that he has the same, like the alien takes on the same physiology or whatever. Like obviously being able to breathe and stuff, so it needs oxygen. Why not just then, take out all the oxygen,
Well,
kill it off?
it's a huge ship though, so maybe that would take a while. I don't know. Maybe they just thought.
I would wait. I would sit in an airlock somewhere and wait for. I don't care how long.
Yeah.
Much rather that.
Plus, also,
and there's
they're
a few
thinking
things like that. There's a few things that we'll get to, like where I don't know if you needed to go through those little tight tunnels. I don't know if you needed to go back and throw canisters around like really loudly. Like I don't know if you needed to go back and search for cats, but let's get into that later on.
Exactly, but at this point, what they do, they split up into 2 teams to try and track it down. So they know it's scary because it's just burst out their friend, and it's got acid for blood potentially. But at the same time, it's a little baby. But yeah, they split off into 2 groups to go hunting. So it's never a good thing.
To catch him with, like, no, bless you.
Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, like Nathan was saying, the crew attempts to locate the creature with the tracking devices and try to capture it in nets using electric cattle prods. But Brent follows the crew's cat, Jonesy, into the landing leg compartment, where the now fully grown alien attacks Brent and disappears with his body. So this leads into that amazing shot, Sue, that I know is one of your favorites of all times, with the spotlight on the cat's face.
Oh, I think it's so beautiful. And when it's on the big screen, like just that, I just think it's such a beautiful shot.
But I did like that scene as well, because it's like he's going after the cat, and then the cat can obviously sense that something's there. The cat's hiding from it, and the cat's all hissing at him rather than like wanting to be picked up. So the cat knows it's there.
Hello, but like the cat's not looking at you; it's looking over your shoulder. So maybe turn around. You know.
But is it a cat? Or is it a flurkin? Like, is this a Marvel crossover? Is it part of the MCU?
I think it's a cat.
So he's like, no, I'm not having it.
Not having it. Cats are the best. It's a cat.
But I was actually wondering that room though. I didn't realize what it was. I just thought, what is this? This is just some rain room. Like, or just. I know.
And how he takes his cap off and is like, just enjoy it for a while. Like, what are we doing? Like, focus.
I know. I was in a car park the other day and there was water dripping down from a pipe up above, and I went way out of my way to avoid that.
You didn't stand under
open sewage.
There was toilets above there.
I thought you'd have done a Flashdance recreation, Nathan.
Still water.
Or a bit of a Spider-Man upside down thing.
No. So after a heated discussion, the crew decide the creature must be in the air ducts. So Dallas decides to enter the air ducts, intending to force the monster into the airlock, but it ambushes him and kills him. That's
the deadly hug.
The what?
The deadly hug. It sort of goes, ah!
Yeah, boo! A boo! Yeah. It like the thing, like where those, like I think it's effective how they have those irises that close up, but it's annoying how they don't quite close up. It's like, well, what is the point of that?
I don't know. You can let a little bit of air in, but it won't get a big thing. No, they were a bit scary because as they sort of close up so quickly and they sound very metallic and metal, it's almost like, well, I wouldn't want to get caught in there. I'll lose a limb.
I liked.
Do you think it was a missed opportunity, Nathan?
I think the mind was, well, my mind anyway, was filling in those gaps.
Someone being chopped in half.
Yeah.
When he finds the ectoskeleton or whatever you want to call it, that it's shed. I like that bit when he picks it up.
Yeah, it's like a crab or something.
What does it look like? Yeah, but just that little warning that it's not going to be the same creature. I quite like that.
It's such a clever film. So yeah, so many things like that. Like that's like, how did you even think to do that? That was amazing.
Yeah, like a lot of thought behind. Well, if it's evolving into other things, it would obviously have to shed that outer skin, and a lot of thought went into it.
But also that shows that it's growing very quickly as well. If it's already shed its skin, and we only just saw it born not long ago.
It's true. Yeah, that's true. And then it's like human-sized, isn't it? And I like the way that even when he died, you couldn't exactly see what happened. You had a general idea, but it wasn't that clear.
Actually,
when
Matt,
Dallas died, or when
Brent died.
Oh yeah.
So,
when did Jaws come out?
74, wasn't it?
So this is a few years after Jaws. Had a few sort of similarities, because you know how in Jaws you don't really see much of the actual shark. It's more about you just know it's out there. They basically captured the same thing here, but in space and in the dark, in the shadow.
I think you've hit something there, Nathan. Like, I think that I thought the same, that the structure is very similar to Jaws, especially like when we get to the end and like one person like is left to deal with like the killer, and it's like you just have to use with whatever you've got at the end, like to get rid of this monster, which is exactly the same as Brody on the end of the ship.
Nice
like
Jaws.
firing it. It's basically a rip-off of Jaws. The end. So let's go to our review. What did you think, Sue?
If you like Jaws, you might like this. It's in space.
Well, actually, the aliens do have some pretty cool Jaws. You get to see them. Did we see them in that scene in the rain room where like it was just constantly dripping with saliva or whatever it was? Or no, or was that in the air ducts?
You did see some. You think you saw the dripping chops?
It was very moist, that alien.
It was very moist. Stop saying moist.
Well, I guess it doesn't have like much in the way of lips, so it's just all drooling constantly. So it must drink a lot.
It does have sort of a lippy, a bit of a lip.
A little bit, because it pulls them back before it shows its teeth, and then it's like,
And it's all kind of like.
And then it's got a surprise. I got more teeth.
And another mouth. You want it to go in you.
Wait, it's smaller. Here's my punch door.
Oh dear. So Lambert suggests that they abandon the ship and escape in the small shuttle. However, Ripley explains it will not support 4 people and insist on continuing with Dallas's plan to flush out the alien. Can I just say, like, what rubbish ship is this that they don't have enough space in the escape shuttle for all the crew? Like, it looks like there was just enough for one person and a cat.
No. Surely there should be enough escape pods for everyone.
I would think so. Otherwise, what are they supposed to do? Mayo or something. Like, it's you. It's
exactly.
Straws. Ah, well, sucks to be you.
Sorry, annoying woman. It was kind of the Titanic of its day.
Right.
So, accessing Mother, Ripley discovers Ash has been secretly ordered by the company to bring the alien back, with the crew considered expendable. Having discovered this truth, Ash tries to choke her to death with a rolled-up porno magazine.
I remembered the magazine bit, but I didn't actually realize in the past that it was a porno. I'm assuming it was based on all the pictures in the background.
The movie wallpaper.
Do you think it was another thing, another anachronistic thing? It's like, porno magazines? Like, seriously?
I don't know.
Maybe it's someone like has like a vintage collection, like it's like worth millions of dollars.
That was a bit silly for me though. There was even a shot where it was almost floating above her mouth, where it wasn't connecting, and I'm like, come on. And he's not restraining her in any other way, really. Couldn't she just kind of...
No, and it seemed like he was playing with her. Like, he could have snapped her neck, like... Because he seemed quite strong otherwise, like...
Yeah, why would he...
I must admit that I got confused at this part because I didn't understand how Ripley managed to get that information, like, so quickly, where Dallas wasn't able to get that information. So the amount of times I've seen this film, I've always sort of missed that bit.
Yeah.
She just seems to like overcome Mother and get that information.
Well, she's very good. Maybe she's just more to the point in terms of the searches. She knows what keywords to type in to get those sort of answers.
Hashtag what the fuck.
Yeah.
She just typed in, "We're being killed by aliens," and it was like, "Oh, save those." And then he gives
She's a
Yaphet
smart
code.
cookie.
She is.
The old nipple cookie.
Parker intervenes and clubs Ash, knocking his head loose while revealing him to be an android. Ash's head is reactivated, and they learn he was assigned to ensure the creature's survival and taunts them about their chance of survival. Annoyed and pissed off, I guess it would be, Ripley cuts off his power and Parker incinerates him. Another thing that's always confused me is how quickly and easily they kill Ash. So when Ash confronts Ripley in the mother room, she pushes him, but not really, doesn't seem very hard. But then when he chases her, he's got the white liquid running down his head. It's like, is that sweat or...
Yeah, I was a bit confused by that. At first I thought, did she push him in like in Mother and he cut himself or something, but we didn't actually see that. But then when he starts glitching out and twitching everywhere, was he malfunctioning?
Yeah, I thought
yeah.
So it's not so much that...
What brought that on? Like...
Maybe she hit him in just the right spot.
Yeah. It wasn't that clear. They didn't make enough. Really
like, you're dead.
It was just more focusing. It was just more focusing on him being an android than the actual how he sort of malfunctions or whatever, or it falls apart.
I liked, when they showed underneath and there was all those weird strings with like the bubbles. Like, I don't know what the hell those bubbles would be for, but it was interesting looking structure going on under there.
Looked like sea,
like
those sea grapes you find down on the beach.
Yeah.
It did look very sea creature-ish.
Yeah.
But
I thought the design of like...
sorry.
Go ahead, Nathan.
I was just going to say, but the bit where they're trying to like get his head upright so that way they can question him and that sort of stuff. And you can see it's obviously like a fake head with all the prosthetic latex around it for quite a few times. Then suddenly cut to it. Oh, it's the real one.
that was not a good shot. I thought that added to the film. The film's almost perfect, but that shot is not good. I think they could have like covered it better with someone going in front of the camera, like to cover it up a bit more. But it's clearly like you can see the strings in that one.
Yeah. But it's a very gross scene as well, though. Just like as he's talking with like all the white stuff coming out and all the sort of spaghetti, gizzardy stuff everywhere as well. It's a gross thing to look at.
Yeah,
I like it.
But I also like how his head's clearly detached and his body's sort of to the side, but the hand is still sort of slowly moving. Like it's those details that I think really sell the effect.
Yeah. Well done.
Well done. Ding dong. So the remaining crew decide to activate the self-destruct and escape in the shuttle. Obviously, it can fit 3 people and a cat. It was just that one person.
Got rid of one.
That he turned out to not be enough.
But also, when they were talking about and saying the shuttle will only fit 4 people, you see Ash in the background doing some little shifted look, as if like, no.
I noticed that because I looked straight at him like, well, he's not people.
Yeah, and he has this funny look on his face.
Yeah.
Awkward.
Yeah.
Maybe it was triggering.
Thanks for bringing
even
up
androids get triggered,
Yeah.
However, Parker and Lambert are ambushed and killed by the creature while gathering the life support supplies. So Lambert, like, she's bloody useless. Like, Ripley is amazing. Like, she's a go-getter. But Lambert, like, Parker basically gives up his life to try to help her. And she's still just left there going, oh, God, like, get out of there. Get out of there.
This this
So
time
she
around,
gets a
I was
tail
sort of
up the
like,
jacksie.
I liked that they had, because all people would react in different ways. So I liked that they had someone who was too terrified to even respond, and then someone who was more, we can beat this, and someone else who was not believing. You know what I mean? Like all the different ways to respond.
It's more realistic.
Yeah, and I do understand being too scared to move. Like I'm like that with Huntsman, but like you know, like I had a lot more sympathy for her this time around because I was like, she is just petrified and she's being forced to confront something that she didn't sign up for this. She's a navigator. You know?
I think if you were in that sort of situation, maybe you should stay on Earth. Like, maybe exploring space isn't really for you.
Yeah, but I mean, maybe when this is set, that is everyone's job. You know what I mean? Like maybe it's no extra. And if you're a navigator, you do it in space. If you're a whatever, you do it in space. You know what I mean?
Well, especially because it would be quite a big life commitment, those jobs, because of how long away they are. With the cryo sleep, it's not just like a light speed and a quick trip. It's a long journey. So they leave home, and I don't know how many years they're gone before they actually get back and see their family and friends again. It's like you'd think it's probably a bit like a FIFO worker. They go out in the city for a while, they work really hard, they get paid well, and then they come back. So maybe it's that sort of situation. They're all doing it for financial gain.
I didn't really understand what Parker did.
Get killed?
Yeah, but like
no, he was one of the ship engineers or tech guys.
Yeah, but I mean, in that scene, you know, and like he was saying, get out the way, and she wouldn't get out the way. And then he did something that then put himself in harm's way, but I couldn't quite figure out exactly what was.
I thought he just tried to attack the alien, like, unsuccessfully.
Yeah, well, then I'm thinking, wouldn't you just run away?
She should have.
Yeah, wasn't he trying to...
He could have, like, just left her as well.
Should have. Like, there was no reason
Fuck
for
you!
him to...
Like, just see you later.
He's trying to help her.
Like, he was the one who wanted to do battle and kill this thing. So I'm like, he just wanted to kill it. He should have run away. That was a stupid thing to do, mate. Like... You have the escape pod going. Go where that is. Go run away.
Talking of stupid things to do, this was the most tensed moment in the film as well, where Ripley getting the ship ready, like the shuttle ready to take off, and she hears Jonesy somewhere in the ship, and she decides then that she's gonna go out and look for the cat.
This is the most unrealistic bit, that a cat would actually come when being called when they're terrified. Because that cat was no way a frightened cat would come out and go, yeah, help me. Like, they're scared. And she's not the owner. I would struggle to get my cats to come to me, and they love me. Like, so
as the local cat expert of the group, like, if you were in that situation, thinking logically, knowing what cats are like, would you put yourself and the whole mission at risk by trekking off out of the shuttle to the flight deck to go look for the cat?
Is it my cat?
It's a cat that you're bonded with.
My cat? Yes, I would go look. I wouldn't care. I wouldn't leave without them. If it was not my cat, I would do a cursory look and a call and then go, I don't know what else to do because he's not going to come to me anyway. And I've spent days looking for cats that have gotten lost around my hospital.
Right.
Days. So, yeah, then I would be like, I'm so sorry, little one, but at least it'll be quick.
That's so true. Because I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, oh, like, it's really conflicting because, you know, this is going to haunt me forever, like hearing that cat cry, knowing that it's somewhere out there. But you make a good point that it would be quick, like, and it's not going to be death by alien.
But that said, with all the other noise that's going on in the ship, for her to hear that, it sounds like it's close. So it's not like she's trekking.
But it wasn't.
I'd do a little look because I would think if I can get the cat, that would be awesome because, you know, the cat didn't sign up for this. We brought the cat on this mission. Like, it's a bit unfair to leave her in the danger when we were the one who put him in it in the first place. But yeah, like, I wouldn't want to do a futile and die for nothing.
No. But if you can quickly grab the cat, great. If not,
But yeah, like I said, if it was my cat, I would not leave without them at all.
But you know what I definitely would not do? Is if I hear the two remaining crew members being slaughtered over the radio, I wouldn't run towards it. Like, oh, maybe there's something I could do. I'd be like, fuck off. Like, time to get into the shuttle.
Know. Same.
That was unbelievable to me.
Agreed. Yeah, agreed. I watched a director's version or something where there was a scene in it that I hadn't seen before, where she finds Dallas and Brent in the wall inside the ship.
Oh.
Like Cocoon.
Yeah. And they ask, like, Dallas says, like, kill me, so she has to kill them with the flamethrower. I'm like, I don't think he meant that way. But yeah.
Well, that'd be interesting, because I guess, that wasn't in this movie, but they do have it in the sequels.
Do they?
Maybe that's on my Blu-ray.
I think it's in Aliens, isn't it?
Look.
I don't know. Like, I just happened to, I was like, what is this? I don't remember this scene. But I hadn't seen it in a while, so then I was like, maybe I just don't remember it. But yeah,
I think it's in Aliens, and they also have it in the Winona Ryder one as well.
What, someone being stuck in the walls like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was where it was first. Yeah, it was interesting.
I'm really interested. I have to dig up my Blu-ray versions or DVDs.
YouTube.
Yeah, it's probably on YouTube. That's a good point, Nathan.
Like, it's just another thing that she's like, oh, what's in this room? Where you're like, get on the pod.
How did she go? Ooh, hello. Get in the fucking shuttle, bitch.
Right? You got the cat in the box. Pick up the box. Go to the thing. Like, seriously. I was glad she used a cat box, though. Thank goodness about that. It's so annoying. She's been running around.
Then she chucks the poor cat everywhere.
That's what I was going to say. So imagine that cat all in that cat box, all over the place.
How do they go? I mean, really, a cat's probably just going to hunker down. But, I mean, at least they're alive. I was thinking, but, you know, they'll be a bit bruised, but they'll be all right.
I think they needed to weight the box a bit better, because it did seem very, very light.
Yeah, it looked heavy, but it seemed light the way it was treated.
It was smart, though.
She threw it around.
Because then they could just have the actress running around with a box, rather than trying to wrestle a cat in all these scenes. That would be so much worse. It would be like great.
I liked how the cat was attached to her when she took it out, like, and it was like attached to her, and when she tried to put it in the.
I know.
The cocoon
he was all
thing.
like, oh,
scared.
poor little guy.
Yeah, she really had to go pull it off.
Oh, so cute.
But then she's also running around the corridors carrying that giant cat box with the cat in, and the flamethrower in the other arm as well. So she's got a fair bit on, and she's also looking for aliens and all the strobing, and it's really tense scene.
What a badly designed ship! Like, did they have all those strobe lights, like, and the smoke?
Everyone's
the fog
having
and
seizures.
The strobes and.
Well, I thought all the smoky stuff, I thought that was part of the self-destruct thing. Because you know how you see down in the lower level, and she's got those big tube things that are coming out. I thought it was like sort of injecting some sort of gas into the ship to make it more explosive.
So yeah, Ripley initiates the self-destruct sequence, but finds the alien blocking her path to the shuttle. She retreats and attempts unsuccessfully to abort the self-destruct. With no further options, she makes her way to the shuttle and barely escapes the Nostromo as it explodes. So yeah, that was interesting how they threw that in there. Like, oops, no, let's cancel the self-destruct. But it didn't do anything anyway.
But she got out in the nick of time. But it was also interesting seeing the explosion.
The knickers of time, some would say.
Not yet. But when it actually explodes, it's like I guess seeing a lot of space movies, there's different types of space explosions, but this one it was like a nuke or something going off. So many different sort of ring effects of it, and the white light and all that sort of thing was not what I was expecting. I was expecting more Death Star.
I thought it was good for its time. I was actually impressed that, like, I've seen, watch YouTube videos of what would happen in a nuclear explosion, and that seems believable to me, like the different pulses that come through.
Well, it probably is more believable than like a Death Star type thing. We see just like flames and little bits of model flying everywhere. But it was just, I thought it was not what I expected, but I'm not unhappy about that.
Okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah, they didn't have the close up of the whole thing just being.
That's what I was expecting.
So, as Ripley prepares for stasis, she discovers that the alien is on board, having wedged itself into a narrow space.
Do you think it's having a sleep there?
So, what did you say, Nathan?
Yeah, do you think it's having a sleep there? Because while she's sort of getting ready, and then she's sort of hiding for a bit, and it's just sort of laying there, sort of just stretching, just little bits of it.
I was going to say, this alien is the most docile of aliens that we've seen in this franchise. Like, it's positively lazy. Like, it's, it doesn't seem to be like in the sequels, like they're running up the walls and on the roof, and whereas this one's like, it's the Homer of the aliens.
Maybe it's a toddler and it's just sort of spent all its energy and needs a nap, or maybe it's just also filmmakers saying, "Oh, it's more scary if we don't show the whole thing."
It's a teenager, so he's sleeping in like forever.
Yeah,
I do like though. Like, I hate films that make things all powerful, and you almost feel like there's no chance of surviving. Whereas this one, it does kind of seem like it is like a wild creature. Like, it's not just a killing machine, but it's like something that does have naps. It's like not just going around like killing people for no reason.
Yeah, but then I guess I like that scene, but also while she's there getting ready to go into a cryo sleep in the tiniest underpants ever.
Oh my god.
Do you think they did that just to make her seem more vulnerable? So it's like, all right, you're not just there with an alien, but you're there in an alien with like next to nothing on.
With your titties out. That's what I was thinking as well. Like, because all the way through the film, she's been so kind of asexual. Like, it could have been played by a man or a woman. Like, that she didn't really seem like she was showing her sexuality. But then, like, it seems like they did purposefully put her in this outfit where she is basically in a string bikini, which shows. I don't think I'm just looking at Sue's face, and it's like I'm
not impressed.
But I felt the same, Nathan, that they put it out there that she's almost nude and in this perilous situation.
Yeah,
Sue, tell me what you're thinking, Sue. I really want to know.
This whole, we have to show her sexuality, but we don't have to with men. Why does she have to be asexual unless she's showing her feminine?
Hello, before at the beginning of the movie, you're trying to look up their shorts.
Yeah, but that wasn't that wasn't the filmmaker's decision. That was just, it happened to be in the shot, and I was curious if anyone else had noticed that particular thing. But
see, I've got to say the same thing. So I was thinking through this film, I love how Sigourney Weaver is playing the masculine role, like, which I agree with what you're saying, but I would have loved for there to be a male playing the Lambert role, like to play the one that's going, "Oh God," and like,
that would
shitting their pants, which you do kind of get in the sequel with the what's his name from Mad About You, but I would have liked to have seen that role reversal rather than the female playing the heroic character, or both.
That said, back in its time, we didn't really have female heroic characters, and not really many Final Girls, did we? I mean,
No,
maybe
it was a big.
The horror genre has always been quite feminist, in my opinion. They've always had strong lead women characters, so that's why I feel like they've really led that, because they were doing it way before other films did it. But yeah, like I don't really have a big issue. I just don't know why she suddenly has to be sexy at the end. But
she's not a scream
not
queen.
sexy about being like, she's sexy even when she's just kicking ass, right? Isn't that sexy enough?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Why does she suddenly have to be in underwear? But if I look at it from what you're saying about the vulnerability, yeah, that makes sense.
So she isn't in her panties for very long. So she sees the alien and sneaks into a wardrobe and puts on a spacesuit and uses gas to flush out the creature. It approaches Ripley, but before it can attack, she opens the airlock, almost blasting the creature out into space. It manages to hang on by gripping onto the airlock frame.
No, because she shoots it with like a grappling hook type thing.
Oh, Nathan, if you would let me finish. So Ripley shoots it with a grappling hook, but the gun catches as the airlock door closes, tethering the alien to the shuttle. It pulls itself into the engine exhaust, but Ripley fires the engines, blasting the creature away into the depths of space. Nathan's silent.
And when it's like hanging on,
after
you're like,
recording after recording the final log entry, she places Jonesy and herself into the stasis tube for the trip back to Earth, and all is well. She'll go back to Earth and live out the rest of her life in some mundane way, I'm sure. Or will she?
Her and her cat living on her pension that she earned.
But I did like that ending though, because when she was there with because I forgot how it ended. I knew that alien ended up out in space, but I forgot the grappling hook, the spear gun or whatever it was. And I was thinking, what's she going to do with that? Is she going to shoot it and it explodes? And then when it was going out, and I was thinking, what's the point of that? And then she had actually already thought a few moves ahead, and that she was planning on not just like blasting it off into space and letting it like drift. She wanted it incinerated. She wanted it really, really dead.
Do you think that was planned then?
Yeah, I think that's why she did that.
Oh, I didn't think so. I just thought she shot it, and then it was a mistake that it was suddenly hanging off the ship.
Okay. No, I she did it on purpose.
I think she thought of all scenarios.
Okay, that makes more sense, because instead I was going, oh, that was a bit of a screw up, because now it's just hanging off your ship.
Like you stepped in something. Oh, you're hanging on the back of your ship.
Yeah, that seemed like
so we have this is our longest review yet. We're already an hour and 15 minutes into it, so we should start giving our reviews and come to our final thoughts. So Sue, you're the tally keeper of who went first. Who went first last time?
Nathan.
You go first.
So I'll go first this time.
Matt.
Oh yeah, good plan.
So yeah, Alien. Jaws is my favorite film of all time. I do love science fiction. I do love horror, and I find that this film is, well, there are a few. You could be nitpicking and bring out a few things, but pretty much this is like a perfect film. It's beautifully shot, beautifully acted, beautifully directed. For its time, the effects are amazing. It is a fairly long film. Like, it's not a quick film for a horror film, but it kept me entertained the whole time. There's so many different points in the film that it changes up. So for me, I'm going to give it a definite 10 out of 10 Pash. It's amazing. Go and see it. If you haven't seen it, what are you doing watching this? For God's sake,
we spoiled it all for you.
Yeah, for God's sake. So, Sue, what are your final thoughts?
Well, I mean, this is an iconic movie, so you know that going in, and I feel it certainly lives up to it. Like, I really love the sort of austere sort of aesthetic of it, how like stark everything is, and I like the look of it quite a lot. I think it was cleverly shot. I really liked the characters and how they felt quite lived in. And you're right, how it was like character development by action, liked that. That doesn't always work, but it definitely worked in this one. So yeah, I think it would have scared the hell out of me if I didn't know what was coming. So as a horror, it would have worked for sure. So I will give it a great big pass.
Ooh. And Nathan, what are your? How are you going to sum it up?
Yeah. Oh, as for me, as I mentioned before, it's been a very long time since I saw it. Back then, it's a movie that I appreciated, but just thought it was a little bit slow. But I think maybe I appreciate things a little bit more now and all the little details of it. I actually wish that I could watch it for the first time in the cinema. Just like to experience that properly as it should have been. That would have been awesome. And not knowing what happened, I just thought it was a really well made movie. Like Sue said, the characters just seem very relatable and very real. It's tense, it's suspenseful, so many iconic moments in it. It's a movie that's been copied many, many times. Obviously, it's had a lot of sequels, but then a lot of other movies and TV series have ripped parts off of it as well. So yeah, I really, really loved it. So in terms of, all right, it's not trash. It's a big, dripping, juicy pash.
So it's unanimous that we love this film. That it's yeah, definitely a classic. It really made me want to watch the other films as well.
Oh yeah.
I don't really remember I don't remember Aliens very well, even though lots of people love that one. For me, that was an action, so I felt like it went from horror to action.
Okay.
So I don't know. I haven't seen that one as much. Oh, by the way,
Yeah.
Nostromo, it means shipmate in Italian. I looked it up.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Okay.
So many layers. Like an onion. So Horror Movie Freaks, what did you think? Let us know in the comments below. Did you love Alien as much as we loved it? What do you think of the sequels? Have you watched them all? What are your thoughts on the prequels as well? I really am definitely going to go back and watch the prequels because they're the ones that I don't really remember. I think I've seen both of them just once. So I definitely want to go back and watch them. So thank you so much for watching. As we always say, please like and subscribe to our channel. Make sure that you hit that bell icon so you're notified when we're going live. We do go live every second Thursday, so you will also be able to see on our YouTube channel the next films that we're going to be watching. So we are beginning our trilogy of sci-fi horror films. So follow along with us. After that, we've got Friday the 13th, and I think Nightmare on Elm Street. So we do have a few great films to go through for the rest of the year. You can also follow us on Facebook. Just search for Horror Movie Freaks, or on Twitter, which the handle is Horror Movies. So until next time, thank you so much, Sue, and thank you so much, Nathan, for coming along and watching the film and giving your opinions.
And thank you, Matt.
Hard to do.
For pushing the buttons.
And until next time, play in the shadows and remember to stay safe. Bye, freaks.
Bye.